up, it's Mick and Sam, taking you to Jungle Land. Bengals pride, it fills the air. Every week we're always there. Touchdowns, tackles, all the plays. Bengals roaring every way. Stories, news, and game recaps. Jungle Juice, we bridge those gaps. Welcome to the Jungle Juice. Mick and Sam, let's break it loose. Cincinnati, hear our call. Bengals fans, unite us all.
Welcome into this week's edition of the Jungle Juice podcast. I'm Sam. He's Mick. Mick, how you doing?
Doing all right.
We're officially
It's over.
off-season shows.
We're done. Yeah.
It's off-season shows, which it's weird that, I mean, I think it's safe to say that we enjoy, I think, really starting, after the Super Bowl, when we get to dive into free agency until, mid-May, I feel like is some of our best shows. I don't know. I just feel like we get to nerd out about free agency and especially the draft. And then literally my favorite show of the entire year, and there's really no reason as to why it is the mock schedule that we do in May. I just love how ridiculous it is, but that's coming a lot quicker than we really think. But it is officially the off season.
Yeah, it's here. We get to make a bunch of decisions that more often than not, the Bengals don't usually take our suggestions, believe it or not.
Yeah, like in our Bengals mock drafts that we've done now in 2 years, I think we've gotten 3 right? Because I know I got Matt Lee right a couple of years ago, and then I also projected them to take Ryan Rico that round. So I at least got a later point. And then last year, you had the great prediction in the Bengals mock draft of Jalen Farmer.
Jalen Rivers.
Jalen River, yeah.
Who the hell is Jalen Farmer?
He's a former UK offensive tackle who's equally as awful.
Okay.
I always make that mistake. Equally as terrible. But yes, so Jalen Rivers. So we've done a great job on our predictions. But on today's show, we're going to dive all the way into the Bengals. No, we're not going to talk anything about the Bengals-Browns game, really, at all. We're going to touch on some of the news headlines from the week. Obviously, the news that Zach Taylor and Duke Tobin are back. The draft position is officially finalized. We'll talk about that. I have a conundrum that I need help with to discuss. And then just kind of some takeaways for the season. First glance at free agency. First glance at some potential contract extensions as well for this Bengals team. But first, we invite you to follow us on our social media channels. We're Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. We're also on your favorite podcasting platform. Make sure you follow us there. Give us a 5-star rating. Mick, the biggest news of the week, and I love that this came across the NFL like breaking, shocking news that, Monday morning it came out that Zach Taylor and Duke Tobin would both be back. For me, when I read that, I was like, okay. In other surprising news, the sun came up this morning. Were you in that same realm? I guess I just went in with thinking that there was pretty much a 0% chance that there was any chance that either one of them would be gone.
No, I didn't think it was. We pretty much knew they were going to be back as soon as we caught wind of that extra year of a contract extension that Zach had a few weeks ago. He didn't sign it a few weeks ago, but he signed it after the end of the 2022 season where they made the AFC Championship. And for some odd reason, nobody other than Zach in the front office knew about the contract. So nobody was, anybody that follows the Bengals super closely wasn't surprised by the news that Zach and Duke were back, especially Duke. I mean, I don't think Duke's ever really going to leave this franchise until he decides to retire, I guess. But I don't think that the franchise is ever going to willingly move on from Duke Tobin.
I do think it was interesting that really for the first time ever, and I know Paul Dehner made this point as well, they mentioned Duke Tobin in the post.
They did.
I don't think that's nothing.
I don't think it's nothing either. I do think that Duke has had more heat on him after this season than probably ever before. And by God, have we had some bad seasons in the past too. But this might be one of the most disappointing seasons. It's probably right up there with 2010. Probably the last time we were this disappointed in a Bengals team. And, people are calling for Duke's head right now. And I don't really blame people for doing that.
The Paul Dehner Jr. wrote an interesting post on The Athletic. He wrote a column, and his big takeaway from it is that he agreed with Mike Brown's decision. And his long story short from it is that, you know, and he's not wrong when it comes to this. Now, whether you agree with him or disagree with him, that's a discussion for another day. But pretty much what he said is that obviously you know what you have with Zach Taylor, especially when it comes on offense. And the Bengals are a team built around offense. And the thought is that, okay, what happens if you get someone and it doesn't work on offense, and then you're wasting more years of Burrow? That was kind of the long story short around it. At the same time, you could make the counterpoint is okay, well, what happens if they hire somebody on offense who takes this team from the X-numbered offense into the, into another tier? Is there another tier of this offense? And I mean, listen, that's part of the risk of firing anybody, is you don't know what's on the horizon.
Yeah, there's some trial and error until you find the right guy. And this is the thing that kind of pisses me off the most about this front office is that I feel like these guys are just running things scared. They're scared to make any change whatsoever. I mean, they have made 2 coaching changes since we've started following the team. Kind of along the lines of like a Pittsburgh Steelers have done the same thing as well, but at least the Steelers have a couple Super Bowls with their name in the past 15 years. Or past 25 years that we followed the team. My bad.
They have 0 in the last 15 years, I think, right? Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's been since 08. Yeah. Anyways.
And the Bengals have been to the Super Bowl since then.
They've been to the Super Bowl once. They built a good core roster, for a good 2-season stretch, but now we're on a 3-season stretch of not making the playoffs. And I think that these guys are just, I mean, they're too scared to make a move here. And I guess you can kind of place the blame that, Joe Burrow has been injured for the vast majority of 2025 and for half of 2020. Well, really the majority of 2023. So I can see where you can make that as an excuse, but we've seen from other coaches in this league, the injury to the quarterback is not a damning moment for a team's season. I mean, look at the San Francisco 49ers and Kyle Shanahan. And this is why he's probably the best coach in football, is because he's able to bring a team with a load of injuries. Brandon Ayuk hasn't played in a season and a half. You missed half of a season of Brock Purdy, and you're able to make it work and bring the team to 12-5 and make the playoffs. Like,
can I counterpoint that?
Go ahead.
Let's never mention Brock Purdy and Joe Burrow in the same sentence, though.
No, but
Joe Burrow is one of the only two.
Those are not the only 2 injuries.
But I mean, you can say the same thing about, who was another team that had a quarterback miss pretty much the entire season, or at least miss a good chunk of the season, is the Baltimore Ravens. And that was a team that many projected to have, potentially as a Super Bowl team.
Yeah.
And Lamar missed a lot of games, and look now John Harbaugh's looking for a job.
Yeah. And I think John Harbaugh should be looking for a job. They've gone 12 seasons without making a Super Bowl. Like, at some point, the message gets stale, or you want to try something new.
100%.
For me, a qualifying decision to fire somebody is missing the playoffs 3 seasons in a row, especially with the greatest quarterback in the history of your franchise at the helm of the position. So I don't think it's the right decision to bring Zach back. I think Duke being fired has been long overdue, but we know that's never going to happen because he's the whipping boy for the front office. He's the one that's front and center, talking about all the roster moves, all the coaching staff moves, and all of the above, because the ownership won't show face to things like this. So I don't necessarily agree with the decision. I think there's better coaches out there that could also tap into Joe Burrow's potential. And if they don't, then move on from them. Like, I just don't see why we're so committed to staying with guys for way longer than they should be here.
That's just the Cincinnati Bengals for you.
Yeah, it is. It's insanity. It's insanity for us fans.
The positive is ESPN, I guess it's 2 or 3 weeks ago, they wrote an article, and it was ranking the jobs that might come open, as to which job would be the most attractive. And I don't think Baltimore was on this list, but the Bengals were number one. And the reason for it is you've got one of, if not the best quarterback in the NFL, and you've got the best wide receiver in the NFL. And if you're an offensive-minded head coach, the obvious connection with Joe Brady is there. That's obvious. But let's just say you're Clint Kubiak. I know he's a guy you really like. You're telling me you could go and work with, Joe Burrow? Like that would have to be at least now, or, if you're a defensive guy, you're just saying, like Jesse Minter, just to use a name that we've talked about, is, okay, you're telling me that my defense has to just be meh, and we're going to make the Super Bowl maybe? That has to be advantageous as well.
Yeah, I think that I agree. I think that this is a very attractive franchise for people to go to right now.
Especially because, look, you could be average and never lose your job.
Yeah, yes. And we just want to just go back to 2019. We tried to put out feelers for top of the notch, coaching candidates at that time. I remember Josh McDaniels, and thank God he turned down the interview because he's a dog shit head football coach. He's a good offensive coordinator. But he turned down the opportunity to interview with the Bengals because why would he? Like the roster was in complete shambles. He held on to Geno Atkins and Carlos Dunlap maybe a little bit too long. You have Andy. You definitely held on to Andy Dalton for too long. You never moved on from him. You just watch the roster that had a very good core for 5 seasons just age, and they didn't replenish it to the extent that they needed to do it. So now you're kind of in the same situation, but at least you have the franchise quarterback and the franchise wide receivers at your disposal. Also,
your offensive line is better.
Yes, you also have a young defense, which maybe could improve if there was a better coach at the helm at the defensive coordinator position. Like, you can't tell me if Vic Fangio was coaching this defense, it wouldn't perform better. And I don't care who's on the roster.
No coaching changes, Zach Taylor does say. To me, the one that I was like, if there would be a position coach that you could see change, maybe you could see safeties coach, because you didn't see a whole lot of improvement from that position group. But other than that, not necessarily surprised at that really in the least. So yeah, Zach Taylor, Duke Tobin back in 2026 for the Cincinnati Bengals. Future contracts signed for the Bengals. They dished out one to Mitchell Tinsley, Isaiah Foskey, Joe Giles Harris, Cam Grandy, Shaka Hayward, and PJ Jules. So those guys will at least have the ability to compete. All of them deserve, I feel like. Yeah. And plus, these are really not, these are really not any surprise on this. And it's not like it's really costing you anything to bring these guys back. All of the guys in the practice squad, except for Kendrick Pryor, Seth McLaughlin, Kendall Milton, and Jackson Kirkland, are the guys that did not.
Kendrick Pryor was on the roster, or was on the practice squad?
He was on the practice squad.
I had no idea he was even on there, Steve. He was on there still.
And I guess now it's kind of like, because Kendrick Pryor, what's he been in the league 5 years now?
Yeah.
If you're not going to make an active roster now, you're never going to. And that's my assumption is that we can get a younger wide receiver in there. And we'll talk about one here in a few minutes that potentially could slide in and fill a void like that.
Yeah.
McLaughlin, I guess, is kind of a surprise, but not like it's a drastic one by any stretch. Bengals will officially pick 10th in the NFL draft. The Bengals have selected 10th 3 times. Can you name any of the 3?
Willie.
There you go. Levi Jones.
Okay.
And David Verser. Yeah.
Don't know who that
David Verser. He's a wide receiver back in the 80s for the Bengals.
Okay.
Right now, the consensus mock draft board has 3 names as the top 3 most likely consensus. And obviously, this is going to change a lot. The consensus board in order from, into the most consistently picked: Caleb Downs, number 1, David Bailey, number 2, Peter Woods, number 3. So Caleb Downs is a safety from Ohio State. David Bailey is an edge from Texas Tech. And Peter Woods is a interior defensive lineman from Clemson. I think if you told me those are the three names I get to pick from, I think they're in order of who I'd want. Caleb Downs definitely first, David Bailey definitely second, and Peter Woods down the road, around the corner for third. Agreed?
Yeah, I would agree with that. I would put David Bailey first just because I really like David Bailey as a prospect. I think he killed it at Texas A&M. Was one of the best edge rushers, pass rushing wise, in all of college football. I have him as the second best. He's probably the second best graded edge rusher in this class, and definitely the best amongst people that are projected to go in the first round. So I do think David Bailey would be a fun fit here. Caleb Downs, I'm just ready to have a good safety in the back, or maybe a potential elite safety in the back of the defense here. And maybe that's the position I think that matters most. Well, that and 3 tech and nose tackle, but I'm not sold on Peter Woods or really any interior defensive lineman in this class that's being pegged as a first round draft pick. So yeah, I mean, I think that I think those are definitely the three most likely guys. Caleb Downs is available. I think he'd just be a good locker room guy, finally a good safety that you have in the defensive backfield. It's been a while since we've had that. It's been since Jesse Bates was here 3 years ago.
James Rapine, earlier today, your boy, Mick, he brought up the name. Are you ready to get – this is going to rage bait you.
Mm-hmm.
Are you ready?
Yeah, sure.
Carnell Tate. I mean, listen.
Why? Why?
I mean, listen, who needs a defense, right? Who needs it? I guess if you throw him in there as wide receiver 3, then what the hell? But I think, if you were legitimately going to draft Carnell Tate, are you flipping T. Higgins? Like,
no.
are you no. Yeah, I'm just trying to think of doing this. Mo is his main boy. James Rapine is your second boy.
I have a lot of boys. I like a lot of these media members. But anyways, go ahead.
But I think you're right on those are the three. Ruben Bain is going to be a guy that's going to be talked about because he's kind of a polarizing prospect because, and you're going to hear this a lot of, he's got really short arms for a edge rusher, but the dude just produces. So he could be one of those guys that could be available at 9 or could be like a top 3 pick. It's so wild for this for him. But it'll be interesting to see how the draft goes on. If you're a big draft fan, stay locked into us. We'll be bringing a ton of draft coverage once we get into March and April. And it's one of our favorite times of the year. Any other draft notes to mention?
No, I'll try to get a mock out here for the first 3 rounds, maybe within the next couple of weeks. But we'll see. Hopefully.
There you go.
Fingers crossed.
Maybe even we can get fancy, like make a graphic or something. What do you think?
That's
we could do that.
We can
maybe.
do that.
Dan Pitcher is going to interview for the Browns job. As I said when I first heard this, man, last time the Browns hired the Bengals offensive coordinator for a head coaching job, it worked out great.
1-31.
Yep.
Or I guess 1 in like 33 or 2 in 33.
Didn't he have a tie in there?
No, I don't think he did. I think he may have had a second win against the Jets in his 3rd season before he got canned. I can't remember if.
Let's see. I'm pulling it up.
Freddie
now.
Kitchens took that job over, or
3. No, he did. 336-1. 336-1. He went 1-31 in his first 2 years. And then in the 3rd year went 2-5-1 before they finally got rid of old Hugh Jackson. Dan Pitcher, though, I think is a guy that I don't know if this is the year, but he very well could be a future head coach in the NFL.
Yeah. And it's Dan Pitcher is, like you said, I think it might be a little early for him to be a head coach, but this is kind of like the type of job for people that are too early to be head coaches would take, right? Like this is like Dave Canales taking the Panthers job a couple of years ago. Like just this Browns job, especially on the offensive side of the football, can't be less attractive to incoming offensive coaches. There is literally nothing there. They have nothing there. They don't have a quarterback there. They may have they got a decent running back room. Their offensive line was the worst graded unit in all of football. And yeah, that's even worse than the Chargers offensive line. Their wide receiver room is completely strapped. I mean, your tight end room is okay. Yeah. You got two tight ends, which I can't remember if Njoku's a free agent or not. I think Njoku is a free agent this offseason. Don't have a quarterback, really. Like, yeah, this is a very unattractive job to incoming head coaches. And it might be bad enough to a point where Dan Pitcher, who's probably at least a year or two away from taking a legit head coaching job that he would want, would be like, well, just screw it. We'll go ahead and try to rebuild this offensive front for the Browns.
I read an article, I think it was James Rapine had a column earlier today and pretty much said, Dan Pitcher, don't do it. Like, this is when you look at it on paper, this is a job you are meant to fail in because they don't have the quarterback.
Yeah.
Similar to Brian Callahan with the Titans 2 years ago, where they didn't have the quarterback.
Now,
and
if Dan
you
Pitcher,
see what happens.
Yeah. Now, if Dan Pitcher does leave, we would have his replacement pretty much signed the next day because I wouldn't see where Brian Callahan wouldn't be coming back to be the offensive coordinator.
I think it would be Justin Riscotti, I think is his name.
I think Brian Callahan would be back way before they would go with Riscotti or Brad Cragthorpe or whoever. Or Troy Walters.
Brad Childress.
Is he alive? I think he's dead.
Is he?
Is he really? Go on to your next point. I'm going to see if Brad Childress is alive still.
No, he's alive.
Oh.
Wikipedia says
okay, never mind. He's alive.
Trying to kill off Brad Childress.
I'm thinking of other bald coach from that same era, Tony Sperano, I think.
Oh, yes, he did. No.
He
tried to kill
died
off
a while
Brad
ago.
Childress. Bengals did sign a guy by the name of Dante Myers today from the CFL. You got any Dante Myers CFL memories?
Let me guess which CFL team he played for.
Oh, I didn't write this down, so I'm gonna have to look this up. I'm curious, how many even can you name? Okay, I've got it here.
He played for the Hamilton Tiger Cats.
No.
Montreal Alouettes.
No.
BC Lions, British Columbia Lions.
No.
Saskatchewan Roughriders.
There you go. How many more can you name now? Now I'm curious. How many more CFL teams can Mick Nelson name?
I think that's it. I don't think there's
how about I just do this? Did you say Montreal?
Yeah, Alouettes.
Okay, Ottawa. What's their nickname?
I was going to say Senators, but that's hockey.
They're the Red Blacks.
I do not know who. Red Blacks? Okay.
Toronto?
No idea.
Argonauts?
Shit, I knew that one.
Calgary?
Now I'm just like thinking of hockey teams. Now
I know,
I'm like,
right?
Stampede?
Stampeders.
Okay.
Okay, I'm impressed there. Edmonton?
I was going to say Oilers. Shit. Don't know.
Elks. And then the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Lisa, I didn't get to watch any of the FCS Championship except I watched the very end of it. I saw that on a clip, and I
Who won?
felt bad for you.
Illinois
Montana
State.
State. Montana State did because in overtime, Illinois State missed an extra point.
Okay.
Brutal. But Dante Myers, though, in 2 years in the CFL, caught 89 passes for 1,400 yards, 9 touchdowns, 477 yak yards. So,
okay.
I mean,
a third of his yards are yak.
Yeah, I mean, he's 5'10". I think he played at Presbyterian.
That's it's like that in Holy Cross, where I'm just like, I have no idea where these schools are, what their nicknames are.
I want to say is in the Carolinas, and Presbyterian is the Blue Hose. I know that.
What, the Blue Hose?
Yes.
Oh, hell yeah.
HOSE, not the ones you're thinking of. Okay, let's talk about the Bengals and the Browns on Sunday, and we're not going to talk anything about the game. I don't know if he's a return guy, Luke. In the article I read,
he's
didn't
got
have
that
him
type
on
of yak yardage. He probably did some return game. But.
You would have to imagine that he did something. The Bengals-Browns game, the only thing I want to talk about from the game, Mick, because I don't think there's anything really that anybody wants to relive from that one, is that, at halftime, they did the trivia contest for the fans. And what was it, about 15 questions, give or take? Something like that? 12?
10, not maybe 10.
10, 15, something like that, questions-wise. And you did it on your phone, you scanned it in, and, we tag teamed it and got top 20. So they said, hey, top 20, go down to fan accommodations and get a prize. And I'm thinking, it said up there on the big board, or the announcement was $500 worth of prizes or something. And I was like, okay, like what? I don't know what I was expecting, but for one, fan accommodations from our seats is literally the absolute furthest that possibly could be. Because we are in the upper deck on the practice field side, closest to the river.
We are on the southwest corner of the stadium.
Correct. Much. And the fan accommodations is outside of the pro shop on the northeast side.
Yes.
So I had to go all the way down the stairs, wrap all the way around, and I get there, and I hold my phone out, and they're like, great. They're like, do you want medium or do you want like 3X? And I was like, well, I guess I'll do medium. And they give me a box, Mick, and I'm not exaggerating. I mean, how big was this box? 2 feet long?
Oh, it's huge. I was like, holy
massive
shit,
box.
What the hell is this?
Massive box. And then it's halftime. So I am having to walk through the mass of people right by the concession stands with a massive box. And everybody's kind of looking like, who the hell is this guy? Like, why has he got a big box? And I finally get all the way up to our seats. And I pop up, and Mick's just sitting there, and he looks up, and he sees me carrying this massive box. What was your first reaction when you saw me carrying?
What in the world did you get? Like, I thought you were going to get like a voucher or something. Or maybe if you had the Bengals app and your season ticket account, they would have like uploaded like $500 into there. And you could just get whatever you wanted or something.
Yeah. I don't know.
No, they're uploading some inventory here.
Yes. And so I get back up there, and we opened up this box, and there was so much gear in there. I mean, this hat was in there. I'm not wearing any of the shirts because I need to wash them and so on. But there was sweatshirts. There was this koozies. We got a couple of koozies. I think you got a couple of koozies out of there as well. You got 2 tumblers, one of which went to your wife. There was, a couple of sweatshirts in there and so on. I went and I looked at the price tags. When you combine it all, it's probably easily close to $1,000 worth of stuff.
Really?
Yeah. But at the bottom, Mick, and I need our Jungle Juice fans to help me out here, because I don't know what to do. At the bottom was a Joe Burrow number 9 jersey. A Joe Burrow orange number 9 jersey. Now, Mick laughs because he knows why this stressed me out. And you might be wondering, I'm getting ready to. I'm getting ready to. It stressed me out, and it makes no sense as to why, but I have a Bengals jersey curse, and it is long withstanding. So since I've really been a big fan, I have had very bad luck. Probably 80% of the jerseys that I have gotten, the player has then left in the next year or two. Rudy Johnson, it happened. Rest in peace. Carson Palmer, I got one. It happened. Devin Still was one that I had. I don't know that I fully count that one, but it kind of happened. Carlos Dunlap, it happened. Cal Adamitis, it happened. Logan Wilson waited a couple of years, but it happened. So it has happened multiple times throughout Bengals history. Now, it's not 100% because Andy Dalton has one. I had it and had no issues there. And then I have 2, but they're Chinese knockoffs, Jamar Chase jerseys. And luckily, we've been, knock on wood, okay through that so far. But because of that, I feel like I'm the only one that does not have a Burrow jersey, because I could never forgive myself if I bought one and the curse did something to make Joe Burrow leave the Bengals. That is, and I know Schubert always gets a kick out of it, and I know probably more people do, as to why I have a Cal Adamitis Bengals jersey. The reason for it is because I'm like the long snapper. If he leaves, I'm okay. But in the bottom of that was that Joe Burrow jersey. Now, I have a couple of questions. Luke says I'm safe. Okay. For one, am I allowed to wear it until he comes back? Or do I have to wait until he's done? Or, like Lisa says here, since I did not buy it, does it not count? Because most of the ones in the past that I just mentioned, I purchased, like the Adamitis, the Dunlap, The Devin Still I purchased. Now, not all of them, because I guess probably the Carson Palmer was probably a gift, because at that point I was probably, 10, 11, or 12. Mick, I don't know what to do, though, because the Burrow jersey conundrum it has been, I haven't been able to sleep all week because I don't know what I'm doing. It's just been sitting in there. It's doing it. I don't want to give it away. I can't do that. But what do I do?
I think like the safest move would be wait to wear it until he retires. But also, maybe you should just not live life scared that something's going to happen. You are the Mike Brown of superstitions with jerseys, I guess.
If it ain't broke, Schubert, this is another idea. Frame it. But if I'm going to frame it, I feel like I need to get Burrow to sign it.
Yes, you would need something. You need to have an autograph to have it signed. Also,
we got a couple people saying frame it. And listen, if I got the opportunity to get Burrow to sign it, without question, I would do it and I would frame it. Lisa says just wear the damn thing. I trust Lisa and I trust Luke. Both say to wear it, and I'm safe. I'm still stressing about it, though. I'm not gonna lie, because I have wanted a Burrow jersey, but I haven't been. I just could never forgive myself if something would have happened. Okay, Luke says better be on open and orange. Okay, I'll do it. They say it's okay, Mick.
If I go to the open and orange game, we can twin, because I also have an orange Burrow jersey.
Oh, that'll be nice. I think we won't be the only.
We could be the new Bengals twins.
Yes, because we look identical to one another when we walk in. We both have glasses and beard, and
we have like the same color hair, I think.
Yeah, it's a little different style, but
you were obviously the runt of the womb.
Yeah, but I'm the brains.
that's funny, but that's
But in this box, though, Mick, it was pretty cool. Like the amount of stuff that was in there. I should have brought. They had the pins.
Yeah, I thought you were going to do an unboxing for us today.
It's too big. Like there's just not enough room in my office for me to be able to do it and hold it all up and do a fashion show in here. Because there's just so much stuff.
Honestly, the pin set is probably the thing I thought was the coolest. Like it was each game this season that they had a pin for, and all of them had the specific themes of the games and the pins. So you had the whiteout for the Steelers game, you had the stripe the jungle for the Lions game, you had the my cause, my cleats, salute to service, open and orange, you name it. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah. And listen, it was some pretty cool gear in there, and there was some decent stuff. There was a couple of things in there that I'm like, I don't know if this is the Sam Gormley style. But hey, you never know. You never know what could happen. But yeah, other than that, though, I don't think there's anything to report on the Bengals game from the Browns on Sunday. Right?
No,
nothing.
Okay. Couldn't give less of a shit watching that game. Just as long as Burrow didn't get hurt or Chase didn't get hurt. Honestly, that game was a success, and we also didn't lose any draft positioning in the game. So might have gained some. I think we gained. We gained 2 spots.
I like this. Can we customize a Zach Taylor jersey for you if the curse is real?
That dude needs to. This dude knows something. And his last name is Thought. That's a very good thought.
Listen, I would do it. Listen, if that's what it takes, or do I need to put a Mike Brown jersey on? Duke Tobin.
Oh man, at least with Zach Taylor, he's probably not going to
sell the team.
Cross the rainbow bridge, Mike Brown. I feel like that's the only way he's gone.
None of the players, I guess the only player that I have that's no longer with us is Rudy. And that was, when I had his jersey, that was 20 years ago. So I think we're not doing that. Yeah, it is food for thought. Yeah, good point. Okay, Bengals takeaways from the season. As a whole, I have 6 written down here of my biggest takeaways from the year, Mick. And I'm sure we'll have some that'll overlap and so on. My biggest takeaway from the year is, betting on the youth of the defense clearly didn't work. And I have 2 follow-ups with that, and then I'll let you comment. For one, it wasn't all bad, because I think the pros from betting on the youth of the defense is I think you have found your corners of the future on the outside of DJ Turner and Dax Hill. That, I think, is a positive. What didn't help betting on the youth is that your two defensive free agents that you brought in literally could not have been much worse. Oren Burks only had 3 linebackers with a lower PFF grade. And TJ Slayton, I'm going to put you on the spot, Nick. I think out of like 210 interior defensive linemen, where did he rank in PFF run stop grading?
Out of how many?
It's like 200-ish.
Okay, you said it run stop, like the grading. Or
PFF
grading?
grades, like their run stop PFF grade.
190?
177th.
Okay.
So you're looking at that.
On.
That doesn't help when you're betting on the youth if the two guys that you're helping to help stabilize some of those positions weren't good.
No. So I think the TJ Slayton signing was like an insurance signing for, I don't know, maybe it wasn't, because they did sign him to like $16 million a year or whatever, $14 million maybe.
Oh no, it was like a $7 million a year deal.
Was it?
I'm almost
I
clear.
thought it
While
was
you're talking,
way more than that.
No. 2-year, $14 million contract.
Oh, okay. Well, that contract's a little bit easier to swallow now.
And
so maybe
I believe there is an out this year. So yeah, they have a potential out, $2.5 million dead cap.
Okay, great. Okay, I thought it was a way worse contract than that.
No.
So my bad for getting that one wrong. So yeah, maybe it was more of a an insurance type of free agent signing in case of McKinley Jackson didn't make that leap that the coaching staff wanted. But then I think they kind of solidified themselves into that position as soon as they signed him, because it seems like the vibes were just bad between McKinley Jackson and the coaching staff pretty much the entire season. And you just saw too much TJ Slayton out there. I don't think it was much of a coincidence that I thought we saw a little bit better nose tackle play when McKinley Jackson was out there than when we saw TJ Slayton out there. I don't know what McKinley's grading was this season, but it's got to be. I'm hoping it's better than that, than what we saw out of Slayton this year. But
that's hard to be much worse.
Yeah, let me see I just want to see where in run defense where McKinley Jackson was.
Yeah, because I mean, it wasn't all bad. Like I mentioned, the DJ Turner, he had a great stretch in the season, and then Dax Hill finished the year incredibly strong on the outside.
Yeah. So McKinley Jackson graded 23 points better in run defensive grading than TJ Slayton did.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I'm glad we got to see the outside corner spot look great again. Like I think we would have saw that last year if DJ Turner and Dax Hill actually played the entirety of the season. DJ Turner didn't get a chance to start until midway through 2024, mostly because Dax Hill tore his ACL. The vibes weren't great with DJ Turner going into 2024, and they ended up benching him in favor of CTB and Dax on the outside. And you still have Mike Hilton in the slot. But I think if you had those two on the outside last year, they probably would have looked like they do now. But I think you have those spots solidified at least. But as I've said on plenty of podcasts before, I think personal philosophy, I think that the better your defense is, the better the middle of the field of the defense should be. That
was literally one of my takeaways from the season.
Like the safeties, the linebackers, the defensive tackles matter more than your edge rushers and your outside corners. So,
unless you have a Myles Garrett.
Well, and Myles Garrett's versatile, right? Or Micah Parsons.
Yeah. Those
are chess pieces. Like if you have a chess piece, and I think that's what they're hoping Shamar Stewart could be down the road. It just never worked out this season. We know that's going to be a project. Hell, that gets you look at Shamar Stewart, like the most direct comparison I can think for him is Trayvon Walker when he got selected first overall for the Jaguars, who didn't have a whole lot of production on the field, but had just these insane measurables, combine numbers. You didn't see Trayvon Walker start playing at a decently high level until year 3 into his stint in Jacksonville. So, I mean, can't really expect that out of Shamar Stewart in the first year. I think that our hopes were a little too high on him. But yeah, I think that the betting around the youth of the defense was not a great move. hindsight's always 2020, but I think everybody was pretty scared when we benched Logan Wilson for Barrett Carter, and you had two rookies that obviously played like rookies, and maybe even worse, because I feel like I've seen rookie linebackers with better seasons. Hell, I mean, look at Carson Schwessinger in Cleveland, or we'll just use him as the example because I can't think of anybody else right now. It wasn't great to bet on the youth of the defense this season, especially when it was kind of avoidable to do so, and the coaching staff decided to just not do it.
My next big takeaway from the year, and this is not like some bold take, the Burrow injury was a huge factor. I mean, it was. I mean, they played better with him. Again, not surprising. They go, 5-3 with him? And what is that? 2-8 without him?
Yeah, I guess I'm kind of torn on this one because let's not forget that the beginning schedule for this season was absolutely brutal, I think. I mean, I think that you played the Jaguars, who are a Super Bowl contender this season. You played the Vikings, who I think if they didn't have issues at quarterback, they were easily a playoff team this year. Broncos, number one
MVP candidate. Sorry.
In the AFC.
Something in my throat there.
Lions, who played like one of the best teams in the league when the Bengals played them. They were like a top 5 team, it felt like, when the Bengals played them at that time. Packers would probably be at the top of the NFC if it weren't for injuries right now, but still made the playoffs.
And when they played them, they were at the top of the NFC.
Yeah. Steelers won the division, and then your schedule didn't start getting a little bit easier until that Jets game. But then Bears, Steelers, Patriots, Ravens, borderline playoff team, but still was a decent team. Like this schedule, and this was my worry going into the season too. The schedule was absolutely brutal. Like the NFC North at the beginning of the season was maybe one of the best divisions I've seen in a while. And then yes, that's including the AFC North from 2023, right? Is that where we all went over 500? I think it was.
Yes.
We all went over 500. So we knew the schedule was brutal going into the season. I will give Joe Burrow's absence as a reason for 3 losses, which are the losses where Jake Browning played. We saw decently good football out of Joe Flacco during that time. That's where the defense started really shit in the bed. I mean, there's no other way to put it, really. That's where you saw the worst stretch of defensive play out of this franchise that we've ever seen. So I don't know how much I can place the blame on Burrow. I can place 3 losses on Burrow.
But it was a factor without question with that. But I mean, you take that and you say, okay, 3 losses, flip them to wins, and we're looking at potentially the Bengals being a playoff team.
Yeah. No, I don't know if those losses would have been wins though, just because of the opponents that they played in those 3 losses.
Yeah,
and I'll give them 4 losses. I'll give the second Steelers game one of them as well. So we'll say 4 losses.
Evan McPherson had a nice bounce back season. He had a bad last game, but McPherson really had, I think, a pretty solid year, and that was good to see.
Yeah, and I don't think you and I were really particularly worried about Evan after last year. We thought that Evan definitely had a down year. Wasn't what we were accustomed to seeing, but you see kickers go through this from time to time. And you see kickers that have played in the league for 15 plus years with one team go through stretches like this. Mason Crosby had, I'd say, at least 2 or 3 bad seasons in his 15 to 20 year run with the Packers. Really the only kicker that we haven't seen go through a rough stretch is Justin Tucker, and now he's going through one finally. But
going through some kind of stretch.
So I didn't think that we really had any concern about Evan being, not coming back and playing better this season. And maybe the long snapping change had something to do with it too. We don't know.
He was hurt too last year. You got to wonder, he missed however many games it was. How long was he hurt? We
don't know. Yeah.
We don't know the answer to that. Zach Taylor takeaway does deserve some credit for the Scott Peters hire. I think Scott Peters seems to have done a really good job on that offensive line.
Yeah, and I think this could have been a better offensive line than it was.
Because your boy.
Because we decided to make really questionable moves on the depth chart. I don't know if that's a Scott Peters move or a Zach Taylor move. Maybe it was both. But
Maybe they just really wanted to kill Jake Browning.
Maybe, I don't know. But it's just, you had your starting five going in to the season. Obviously, Lucas Patrick went down, and maybe we're saying the same thing that we're saying right now if Lucas Patrick was in instead of Dalton Reisner. But you had, your starting six, really. You had Dalton Reisner as your sixth man. And then as soon as Lucas Patrick goes down and you saw maybe one bad game out of Dalton Reisner against the Vikings, which play a hell of a scheme for opposing offenses especially opposing offenses led by quarterback Jake Browning, have struggled against. Like, it's a tough scheme to get. Yeah, and on the road. I think that was their first home game of the season too. So it's just like, you're going to, because of that bad game from Dalton Reisner, you're going to go put in Jalen Rivers to just absolutely get pummeled at the guard position for a 4-week stretch. Like, what are you guys like? That's the one thing that pisses me off most about this season, is that a lot of these problems that we had during the season were avoidable. And we just decided we decided to really just lose games this season because of some of these decisions.
Wide receiver 3 is an underrated need for the Bengals this offseason. You were hoping this year that Andrei Yoshivach would step into that role, and he never did. He had his opportunities, but he never did. And I don't think you can genuinely go into next season expecting Charlie Jones, expecting Andrei Yoshivach, expecting even my boy Mitchell Tinsley to be wide receiver 3. I think those 3 guys, if they're your 4, 5, and 6, you're in pretty solid shape.
Yeah, I think.
But 3 is a whole, and we've talked about this a lot. If you're a wide, and we haven't gone through and looked into this obviously, but if you're a free agent coming off your first contract, why the hell wouldn't you want to go play for Joe Burrow?
Yeah. Now, the problem is with the free agency class, it's not like we're going to find a number 1 wide receiver. You just really need to find somebody better than Andrei Yoshivach to be that wide receiver 3. You bring up Wan'Dale Robinson. I don't know if his body type would be, suitable.
He was just somebody that I thought about being a local guy as well.
But a type of guy like that to just take that role over, and it's not like those guys are going to be expensive. Now, I think we all have to wonder, was Jermaine Burton supposed to be that guy? I think Jermaine Burton was supposed to be that guy. And if he were playing,
he is a free agent.
He is. We're not signing him. I don't know if
he's still
going to play for one of those Canadian teams that you mentioned.
The Tiger Cat. He's a Tiger Cat for sure.
He's a Tiger Cat.
Yeah.
But anyways, I think that he probably was supposed to be that guy. I mean, hell, you remember seeing Zach Taylor after that draft pick was made a couple years ago. You were like
banging on the table. Yeah.
He was he was like, hell yeah, this guy is going to be ridiculous in an NFL offense, which he should have been. Now you've officially moved on from that experiment. They're probably going to do something with that position this offseason.
Yeah, and I don't know if it's a draft pick or if it's you are trying to find somebody in there. Food for Thought says Yoshi's a good 3, but he was never a 3 choice in the past. We always look at tight ends before him. To me, Yoshi is a solid 4th guy.
He might be 5th if you're just looking at the other skill position players on the team.
Lisa says Jermaine Burton can play for the Blue Hose. You mentioned up the middle of the defense. To me, that's going to tell the story next season as well. That was some of my other takeaways. Did you have any other main takeaways that we didn't mention?
I think one of the most damning thing about this season, other than some of these coaching depth chart choices that could have been avoidable, is that I think this has been a common, mishap with the fan base, is that I think you put too many eggs into too less of players' baskets, or you put them all into the baskets of really 2 players. You put them in Joe Burrow, which that is reasonable. He's your quarterback. He's one of the best quarterbacks in franchise history, maybe the best, one of the best quarterbacks in the league. You do that because of how important the quarterback position is in the NFL and what he could do with that offense. With the Trey Hendrickson, bringing him back instead of maybe trying to trade him and get an extra draft pick, or maybe just moving on from him and cutting him because you had plenty of cap space. You weren't going to lose much cap space, and then you signed a couple of other guys. You kind of wonder, like, that's the part that upsets me a little bit more, is just one guy goes down on the defense and this entire defense goes down. That shouldn't be the case. You have to find quality players at multiple levels of the defense, preferably in the middle of the defense, as I've said before. And we put too many resources into an edge rusher, and we dicked around with this contract for the entirety of the 2025 offseason.
Food for Thought asks, what positions would you like to see filled through free agency and not the draft? To be honest, I haven't done as much looking into potential free agents and draft to kind of see how it'll lay out. Is there anything that immediately comes to mind? I mean, for me, the easiest one is that let's not draft a guard. Let's just sign Dalton Reisner and have that position solidified. I feel like I'd like to see a free agent linebacker as well.
Yeah,
in there.
I would go free agent defensive lineman too, just because this interior defensive lineman draft class is not great. There's some nose tackles that I like in this draft class, but if we're talking about three techs, which we all love a good three tech, right? There's really none available. Peter Woods is the first round guy, and I'm not really sold on him, and neither are you.
No.
Kristen Miller in the second round, that's out of Georgia. That's really it. I mean, so I think that, I guess where you're lacking in draft class strength is where you want to focus on your free agency. Now, the interior defensive line and free agency isn't great either, but at least you have people with somewhat proven track records in that class.
Sheward asks Jahan Dotson, and he also brought up Naomi Brown as potential options for that wide receiver 3. Those are some of those names that I think kind of fit the role of what we were at least mentioning, of being a guy that could come in on a prove-it deal, come to the Joe Burrow school of I can make you more money.
Yeah, and if they draft a guy, they draft a guy, but don't wait until the 5th round to get a guy. Like, you need to find somebody that can produce right away.
Day 2, day 2 guy, and make sure he's not a head ass like a certain day 2 guy. And Wayne Milliken brings up the point here. If Chase gets hurt, misses time, who's your field stretcher? You need a burner on the draft board. Wayne also says Devin Lloyd would be a perfect linebacker in free agency. He's a guy that I mentioned last week before, a couple of weeks ago or something. And the pro to him too is that the Jaguars cap space not great right now. So that could potentially be, now there's obviously ways to work the cap that some franchises have figured out, but still, that's a name that I think we could talk about. To me though, the biggest takeaway, and I don't think this is, I think I actually said the same thing last year. This is the biggest offseason in Cincinnati Bengals history.
I feel like, I think the equivalent to you saying that is like when when you ask Tom Brady what's favorite Super Bowl, what's his favorite Super Bowl he's won, he always says, oh, that's the next one. I think that's like the equivalent to that. I think every offseason in the future, we say it's the biggest free agency, it's the biggest offseason in franchise history, because it's all about the future. It is the now. That is, it's always the most important one. And this one's, again, it's the biggest.
So here's what we're going to do really quick. We're going to take first glance at the Bengals' current free agents. I'm going to ask you, Mick, should they and will they bring back? Okay. Trey Hendrickson, should they?
They shouldn't.
Will they?
No, 100%.
I think it's no.
No way they don't.
Joseph Osai, for what it's worth, his projected annual value, according to Spot Rack right now, is $15.2 million. I think it's no because of that. Agreed?
Ooh, yeah, 15.2 is pretty steep. It's not like Joseph Osai had that great of a season to pay that much. But also, that might be what the market is now for like a mid-tier edge rusher.
Especially when you look at an upper tier guys making $30 million.
Yeah. I'm gonna go with the no on both still.
Geno Stone.
Yeah.
God,
Goodbye.
I hope not. I hope not. Yeah, I think he's
Goodbye.
one that you say, Bud, thanks. Not real. No, not really. Thank you. Don't let the door hit you on the way out.
Go.
Joe Flacco.
Yes, they should. No, I don't think he will come back just because I think I caught some type of locker room interview with Joe Flacco after the season was over where he was like kind of hinted at like just waiting until somebody gets hurt. And then he's like, okay, I'm just going to go start a quarterback somewhere now. No, kind of pulling like a Phillip Rivers this season, except he's not, 4 years removed from being in the league.
That is still
5 years.
That is still the wildest storyline of this football season.
And it might be one of my favorite too. It might be my favorite storyline. That is insane.
I did really like what Flacco did too with Jamar and T. Like signed a jersey for him and pretty much said like you all are the best at what you do and all of that. I thought it was really class from him. Noah Fant. I think it's a no. I mean, 3 fumbles, all resulting in touchdowns. You have Eric All coming back. I think you're probably putting faith into Eric All, but I just don't know that Noah Fant's the guy.
Yeah, I don't think Noah Fant's the guy. He did not have a good season this season. Like you mentioned, the 3 fumbles. Also, you could just bring back Tanner Hudson for so much cheaper, and then maybe you draft another guy, or just bring Cam Grandy back. You also have Drew Sample. Don't forget about that. I don't think Noah Fant's back. I think he was pretty much just the Eric All replacement for 2025.
Cordell Volson. Remember him? To me, I could see them bringing him back as a, like a training camp deal kind of thing. It's not like Cordell Volson is going to cost you any money.
No, and that's kind of why I'm siding on bringing back Cordell Volson.
Yeah.
He's not going to cost you any money. And guess what? For as much as we talk, as much as we dogged on Cordell Volson over the past, few years,
better than Jalen Rivers.
He's so much better than Jalen Rivers is. So you can't have enough depth in the offensive line. We got kind of lucky this year. We didn't have a whole lot of injuries on the line this year. Nothing that was like long term. So keep that depth though. You got to keep that depth in place. I'm bringing back Cordell Volson and it's not even a practice squad. Sign him to be on the roster. Give him the Cam Sample treatment.
Wayne asks, would the Bengals draft a dual threat quarterback late? I don't think a dual threat. I would be stunned at a 7th round regular quarterback. Be stunned by it.
We do have to find a backup quarterback, which I guess the other one's going to be, is he on the list here or is he still on the team?
We're going to keep coming.
Okay.
I still got more on the list. Lucas Patrick.
Okay. I'm going to go back to the Cordell Volson. You keep one of those 2 guys.
Okay.
I don't know which one they can figure. I feel like Cordell's probably cheaper and he's not bad enough. Like I think him and Lucas Patrick are probably pretty comparable. So I'll go with Cordell, keep Cordell, don't keep Lucas Patrick.
A guy that I kind of forgot was even on the team. Marco Wilson. I mean, I guess he'd be another guy that would be, like super cheap. Maybe you bring him back to compete.
Yeah. I don't know. Do you trust him or Josh Newton more? Like I might trust him more than Josh Newton right now.
Jalen Davis.
Is he the next guy on the list or
he's not on this list, but he should be. So I'm going to make him up on this list. Jalen Davis.
Honestly, for what he did, just in his limited time, being the starting role, and he's been on the roster for a while, and he was cut. Like there was kind of some bad, I'd say some bad blood there, or at least there could have been some, just because he was on the team in the past and he was cut and decided to come back. So I mean, I bring him back. That's a top notch dude.
But do not bring him back to be a starter.
No. He's a backup, but keep him on the 53 man for sure.
Our resident of the Hamilton County Detention Center, Cam Taylor-Britt.
I don't see a need to bring him back. You have the outside corner spots pretty much.
His average value is $15.4 million. And
hell no.
No.
Get out of here.
Yeah, no. Yeah, sorry, CTB. Best of luck, man.
Dude,
Stop
also,
drag racing.
like, why are you here? Another gripe. Why are you sending a guy to jail for literally 5 days? Like, if that's the case, just put him on like house arrest or something. Just like, he was just street
What a wild
racing, you know?
Dalton Reisner. Yes.
Yeah, 100%. Sign maybe not blank check, but give him more. Give him what he wants.
Spot Rack projects $2.5 million. And if you're telling me that,
there's no way that's the case. But yeah,
if
bring
you're
him
telling me
back.
that, I'll get my 4-year deal with that.
Yeah, I give him a lifetime contract. He could be like 80 years old playing guard for $2.5 million. I'd sign that.
Tanner Hudson, again, another guy that'd be cheap. Bring him back.
Yeah, bring back Tanner Hudson. I can't believe I said that after advocating for him to lose his job for like the past 2. When we do the 53-man roster shows.
And you probably will this coming off season as well, and I probably will be as well. Cam Sample.
Why not? He's going to be cheap. Just do it.
Tyson Anderson, same thing. I mean,
and you need some safeties. Like they are projected to lose half of their safety room already. I don't know if you really want to sign a guy and draft a guy when Tyson Anderson won't be that expensive. So bring him back.
And the last guy on this list is Jake Browning.
He's going to be playing in the UFL.
Yeah, I think you shake your hand and be like, Jake, 2023 was a fun ride. Doing it. Lisa says you're building a Timu roster.
I really am the Sheen team because that's what they do. I've been conditioned to operate this way.
Food for Thought asks, who gets franchise tagged? There's only one person that would get franchise tagged.
And I really hope they don't do it.
And that's Trey Hendrickson.
That would be so shitty.
Do they franchise tag Joe Flacco?
Well, I hope
what would that cost?
Do that?
Franchise tag NFL.
$40 million.
Yeah, I'm curious here. 2026.
Like
it's got to be something wild. What would it be? $46.1 million.
Yeah, we're not.
47.3 actually is what the projection is for that. Oh yeah, bring back Joe Flacco for that. I mean, so right now, why isn't it not working? Okay, for Trey Hendrickson, it would be 26.3, and I mean you're not doing that for Joseph Osai. Hell no. Safeties, so Geno Stone. If they franchise tag Geno Stone for $21 million, Mick, I don't know what I would do. So there's just no one. Lisa leads right back into the next question here, though, of contract extensions. So I have a list here of a couple of guys and I'm just going to ask you, I'm not asking you, do you think it gets done? I'm asking you, should the Bengals try and get this done this offseason? These are just the guys that could be up for contract extensions. The first one is Orlando Brown Jr. He is entering next year, the final year of his deal.
Yeah, but no. He hasn't been that bad when he's played for us, but he's getting a little bit older. He's going to be,
I can see
his third or fourth contract.
Like what you did with Ted Karras, where you add 1 year, maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
But I don't think you're doing anything drastic on that.
I don't think he'll be that expensive either. He hasn't played to a point where he's like the top of the, he's not what we paid for him to be when we signed him a couple years ago. So he can't be as expensive as the $17 million we're paying him right now.
Miles Murphy. I don't think you're thinking extension. Really, the discussion with Miles Murphy this year is 5th-year option.
And I'm still kind of on the fence about that.
And I think in a couple of weeks, we might just take a longer section and talk about that decision. Because I think it is fascinating as to which way you go. Dax Hill, DJ Turner.
Yeah, go ahead and do it. I'd be kind of concerned about it a little bit. Just because I think Dax has had some, he hasn't missed a whole lot of games, but, he does have the ACL tear in there somewhere. Also, if we sign him back, hopefully we're never playing him in the middle of the field again. But yeah, I would say DJ Turner before Dax Hill. But yeah, I'm on the fence about that one.
Chase Brown.
Depends on how much. I wouldn't do it right now. There's no point in signing a running back early. It's not like a wide receiver or a quarterback where it's going to eat up so much cap space if you wait, between now and then, or it's going to cost way more cash than, it would cost way more cash on the contract or the annual value of the contract. So I would say no on Chase Brown right now.
And then the last one on the list here is Jordan Battle.
No. I mean, most of these guys are on prove-it years. Not Chase Brown, really. I think Chase Brown's played, decently well for the past couple of seasons, but it's just the nature of the running back position that's keeping me from saying yes.
And I think the thing with the running back position as well is you're like that market, and I think you kind of mentioned this, is not like it's going to blow up this offseason.
No.
Whereas quarterbacks and wide receivers just keep getting more expensive. Defensive ends keep getting more expensive. Running backs are not going to keep getting more expensive.
Yeah, the inflation from 2026 to 2027 for running backs is not nearly the rate of the positions you mentioned.
And there you go. That's the Bengals 2025 season. Over these next, what do we got? How long until the draft? The draft is end of April. So what are we, like 3.5 months away from the draft?
Sure. Yeah, that sounds about right.
It's the 23rd, I think, is what it is, of April. P. Ryan is already signed next year. Food for thought. So he signed a 2-year deal. So yes,
damn right he is.
And I don't think that there's any discussion of whether they would cut him. I don't know what his contract situation is, but I think he's absolutely back next year.
Make him he needs to be just backup Frank Gore. I want him on the roster for the next 10 years as just a backup running back.
I like him. I like it for that. Next week on our show, we are going to do some Bengals superlatives. So we haven't written these yet, Mick. I don't know what we're going to do. I guess we're going to figure out some awards, maybe some best moments and so on. We'll have a little bit of fun for that. If you have any ideas, drop it in the comment section, and maybe we could use your best one. But I think this will be things like the Bengals MVP, the offensive rookie of the year, the best moment, the best game, and so on. Worst moment, things like that for next year's show. And I'm sure that we'll come up with some more fun ones as well. And then we'll dive into some more offseason stuff. We'll talk free agency. We'll talk draft. And schedule getting ready to come out as well. It's going to be here before we know it. We're about 4 months away from the 2026 schedule coming out, finding out how many preseason games that we'll have. You want P. Ryan for 10 years, but don't want to extend Chase Brown, Lisa asks Mick.
Yeah, P. Ryan's a backup. We're paying him backup running back money. I have no problem signing people for contract extensions if they're going to be cheap and provide depth.
Gosh,
as long as we're not signing them to be the damn starter, I don't care.
You're so Mike Brown. Mike Brown is wearing off on you. If they're cheap, we'll pay them.
If they're cheap and they've played reasonably well at football.
Agreeing with you at all.
If Barrett Carter and Demetrius Knight are playing like this in year 4, I would say, God, no, we're not bringing those guys back.
Oh, God, can you imagine? I mean, hell, they might not be on the team if they're playing that way.
Oh, if they play like this after year 2, both of them are probably coming.
Yes. And hopefully the thought process is that you have a veteran linebacker in there next to them to hopefully maybe help them, that you don't have 2 idiots playing next to one another. You just have one.
We didn't even see Jackson Carman play this badly.
You are going to make Schubert's day for dropping a Jackson Carman reference on this pod. We haven't had a Jackson Carman reference.
Awful.
Is he still with the Dolphins?
I have no idea.
Nope. He's with nobody now. What a shock. Yeah, he didn't sign with anybody this year. Okay, he re-signed with the Dolphins and was released via final cuts. So poor Jackson Carman, not even in the NFL anymore. Not even in the CFL. Not even in the UFL. And here's the thing, Lisa. She's a veteran linebacker who costs money. Yeah, pay it. You need it. Right? Am I crazy?
Yeah. No, you're not crazy. Do it.
You've got the Bengals have an insane amount of cap space this year. I think it's the 8th most in the NFL.
And because they front-loaded the hell out of these contract extensions with Jamar and T. Remember, they sacrificed $10 million in cap space and paid extra cash for these contracts, so they could probably have the cash this offseason to spend a little bit more. So
It's time to pay the money.
and it's not like linebacker's that expensive of a position either. It's like one of the cheaper positions in the league at this point.
Unless you're going out there and getting one of the dudes. You know, like I think Schubert said, the average annual value projection for Devin Lloyd is just south of $20 million.
Which is worth it.
Yes. And listen, if you told me that, I would be really excited that the Bengals signed Devin Lloyd. Maybe I'd even buy a Devin Lloyd Bengals jersey. Oh, wait, nope, can't put the curse on him.
No,
put the curse on him.
I'll do that.
That'll wrap us up here for this week's show. Do you have any other parting thoughts that we didn't miss? I know we're running a little long. We got a lot of information to get out, though.
Yeah. If you're going to the playoff game and to travel, wait a minute.
Oh, do you want to make your picks?
Oh, we're not going to the playoff game. Shit, yeah. You want to
okay?
do
Here, I got
quick bracket.
Okay, I got it here. Rams, Panthers. Who wins?
Oh, Rams.
Yeah, I agree. Niners, Eagles. I'm gonna take the Niners.
I'm going Eagles.
Packers, Bears.
Packers.
I think I agree. Texans, city near West Virginia.
Texans.
Bills, Jags.
Jags.
This is maybe the best game of the weekend, I think. I'm going to take the Bills. Chargers, Patriots. Chargers. Not buying the Patriots. Not buying them.
Who's your Super Bowl pick?
I have not sat down to figure it out yet. Who is yours?
Probably the Rams. It kind of feels like 21 because even though we almost spoiled it for them.
Rams, Texans.
Rams, Jags. I'm going Rams, Jaguars.
I'd be okay with that Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I'd be okay with it. Bears, Jags. That's Lisa's. And Schubert says I'm not sold on either number one seed. I'm kind of Sam Darnold's going to Sam Darnold at some point.
We don't know when, but it will happen.
It is going to happen. That'll wrap us up. Remember to be back with us next week for our Bengals superlatives. We'll probably talk a little bit more about the playoffs from week 1. But that'll wrap it up. Any parting thoughts?
No. Goodbye. We'll see you next week.
So nice. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week. Remember to follow us on social media. 5-star rating on podcast. Until next week. Hoo day.
Thanks for watching.